Good evening, Sal. Sprinkled Donut. Pippadot. Mama Bear. Good evening, Lieutenant RN. I hope we all had a wonderful day today. Glad you could be here with us tonight for trivia. And you are absolutely right, Sal. It is a sad story. Sad, tragic story. Mike Stevens. Allah Akbar. Cement Shoes. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you both had a great weekend. Sprinkled Donut is excited for this trivia. Hope you know a lot about it. That way other people can copy off of you. Trying to mute my phone, make sure I turned it off, the volume down. Give it a couple more minutes for people to get the notifications and jump into tonight's stream. Scary Nona, good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend, Scary Nona. Kitty Q, good evening, Kitty Q. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Gabby was a hothead too. I feel like it was two-way street. They definitely had a tumultuous relationship. I'll agree with that, Mike. And in the end, though, Brian Laundrie did the crime. He was abusive. He was controlling. And in the end, she didn't get away from him when all the warning signs were there. So many women, and men, they're in relationships. They just don't feel like, they can do better, deserve any better, or they're too scared to stand up and do anything. Walk out. I remember when they were hunting Brian Laundrie as a fugitive, there was a meme going around where's Baldo? I don't remember the meme, Cement Shoes, but I remember when they were hunting Brian Laundrie, for all that time that he was out in the nature preserve. And good evening, Jenny. Is it Jean? Jeansy C. Good evening from Michigan. Ooh, I bet you guys have gotten some wintry weather there in Michigan. I don't know, Mike. I wasn't there. All I can go by is the forensics analysis of how Gabby was treated beforehand, and that was noted by the Moab Police Department and the forensics report on how she was actually, murdered. And we don't know of any possible scarring or, wounds that may have been from her to Brian. So that would just be speculation if it was a two-way street of a fight that happened that night. But we know by witness accounts and the Moab Police Department's own, investigation, and the pictures that they took of her injuries, that Brian did, slap her around, quite a bit, and there were witnesses who saw it, and a 911 call. Then her, the autopsy report, forensics report, that she was murdered. So I don't see how it could be a tragic accident. It's freezing where you are in Michigan. I bet it is. Most of my family is in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and I talked to my sister yesterday, who lives in Minnesota, and it was a blistering 7 degrees. But I mean, you get used to it, I guess. I mean, I know I did when I was a kid growing up there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get tonight's trivia going. This is the 344th episode of Sunday Night Trivia, True Crime Trivia. 344th episode. Tonight, all the questions are around the crime and the murder of Gbby Petito. May her soul rest in peace. Born March 19th, 1999, and was murdered August 27th, 2021 by Brian Laundrie, her boyfriend. Gbby Petito was a vibrant young woman whose adventurous spirit and love for life touched the hearts of many. She had a passion for travel, creativity, and sharing her journeys with the world. Her tragic passing sparked a nationwide conversation about domestic violence, missing persons, and the importance of seeking justice for victims. Though her life was cut short, Gabby's memory lives on through the advocacy efforts inspired by her story. The Gbby Petito Foundation continues to work in her honor, helping families of missing persons and raising awareness for those in need. We remember Gabby not for the tragedy that took her, but for the light she brought into this world. May her legacy serve as a reminder to cherish every moment, speak kindness, and stand up for those who need a voice. And the hashtag Gbby Petito and Never Forgotten are still trending on, now X. This program documents actual crimes, offenses by criminals. Some of the content covered here may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Tonight we are answering questions around the senseless act of cowardice and violence by Brian Laundrie. Neither I nor my advertisers or sponsors associated with this content shall be held responsible for individuals under the age of 17 accessing this material. Additionally, we are not liable for the comments or live chat messages, as these do not necessarily reflect the views of or our opinions. And that is not because of the people who are in this chat tonight, and it's the people who comment afterwards. And I have to read that statement out because remember, we are not just on YouTube right now. I am streaming to 3 different other platforms. So you have to understand the audiences that are attracted to the streams and to the content afterwards there. The trivia night strictly adheres to factual evidence and verified data from the FBI and the Department of Justice. It does not include conspiracy theory speculations or unverified claims about what may have happened. If you are seeking sensationalism or content related to similar theories or lies spread by those who can't even be bothered to do the research on this topic, this event and topic may not be right for you. With that said, tonight is power, control, power, and murder. Question number 1 is now on your screen. What year did Gbby Petito go missing? Your options are A, 2020, B, 2021, C, 1999, or D, 2022? If you are new here, you just simply answer in the comments section of the live stream A, B, C, D, or make up your own and make it E. But what year did Gbby Petito go missing? And there's me in my little window. Hello, people. Little mini me. You can squish me with your fingers. Squish, squish, squish. Good evening, Lexi. Welcome to tonight's trivia. And Laura Bell, good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you both had a terrific weekend. Question number 1 of 20. What year did Gbby Petito go missing? Smoke them if you got them. Catalisa, good evening, Catalisa. Question number 1. The correct answer is B as in boy, 2021. She went missing in 2021. Question number 2. Where was Gbby Petito's body found? Was it A, Spread Creek camping, B, Teton Mountain Creek camping, C, June Mountain hiking camp, or D, Little Bighorn camping area? Question number 2 of 20. Where was Gbby Petito's body found? It rained all weekend where Lexi is. I'm sorry, Lexi. At least you're not in Virginia. My friend who lives in Virginia, they got a foot of snow, then it got warm and it melted, and then it snowed again, and then it freezing rain. Very unusual weather for them. But it still sucks even if you're in the rain. Too much rain can be a bad thing. Question number 2 of 20. Where was Gbby Petito's body found? The correct answer is A as in apple, Spread Creek Dispersed camping. Question number 3. What was the official cause of death listed for Gbby Petito? Was it A, homicide, gunshot, B, homicide, stabbing, C, homicide, strangulation, or D, homicide, poisoned? What was the official cause of death for Gbby Petito? Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia, Mamma Mia. I hope you had a terrific weekend. I'm glad you could be here with us tonight for trivia. Did I just see Gemma? Good evening, Gemma. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great weekend, sweetheart. Glad you could be here with us tonight. Question number 3 of 20. What was the official cause of death for Gbby Petito? You don't have to, but it could be anything for E. Add an answer, could be comical, it could be just a guess, in the wind. E, mutual combat. All right, question 3. The correct answer is C, as in cat. The official cause of death was homicide by strangulation, is what it says on her actual death certificate. Homicide by strangulation. Did you know in the United States, nearly 5.3 million women under the age of 18 or older experience domestic violence each year? This is also known as an intimate partner violence, or IPV. I'll read that again. In the United States, nearly 5.3 million women ages 18 and older experience domestic violence each year. Each year. It's not something that is, well, it happens a little bit, but not as much as it used to. No. Anytime over once is too many. 5.3 million women experience domestic violence from an intimate partner every year. Question number 4. How long had Gbby Petito and Brian Laundrie been dating before her murder? Was it A, 14 months, give or take a month? B, 10 months? C, 17 months? Or D, 28 months, give or take a month? Question number 4 of 20. How long had Gbby Petito and Brian Laundrie been dating before her murder? Since you brought it up, Mike, domestic violence against men, by all official accounts, and better than 70% of all males do not report domestic violence from a spouse, or an intimate partner, an IVP. But of those, it's only about 2%, 1.78% of all, of comparable numbers. So basically, very little. Women are, as most people would say, are not as violent as men. Hence the reason why we only have, 30 all women's prisons in America. I think it's 30. I wonder how many men per experience intimate partner violence. I bet a lot of that goes unrecorded. Yeah, exactly what I was saying, sprinkled on it. Very few men actually report it, even to this day. But the times are changing, and people are, reporting it a lot more. They know that the numbers for domestic violence in same-sex couples is underreported as well. Hence, the chief of the fire department in California, who oversaw the fires that took place in the Pasadena area, or Palestine, not Palestine, Palestine. The chief of the fire department for the Palestine Police Department, who was stabbed and murdered by her domestic partner. They're, according to their friends and who have spoken out publicly, they know that they had a tumultuous relationship and that the one partner was very violent and abusive towards the other. But as the chief of police, she never reported or filed a police report of domestic violence ever against her. But all her friends and everyone else knew that she was. But again, it's underreported. Good evening, Rykard. Just joining in, guys. Didn't know you were already live. Well, rest in peace, Gabby Petito. Rest in peace for sure. Question number 4. The correct answer is D as in dog. 28 months, give or take a month, depending upon whose actual numbers you go by. If you go by the number of Roberta Laundrie, she says that it was close to 3 years. Um, the the Petito family says no, that's not true at all. It was a little over 2 years. If depending upon when you draw the line in the sand and when they started being exclusive. Friends of Gabby who spoke out have said that it was close to 27 months, but that's the give or take the 28 months, give or take a month is the most accurate information on how long that they dated before he murdered her. Question number 5. Who was deemed responsible for the homicide of Gbby Petito? Was it A, Gabriel Hernandez, B, Brian Laundrie, C, Samantha Deere, or D, Two Feathers Ricky Tombach? Who was deemed responsible for the murder of Gbby Petito? Excuse me. Gianna Marie, good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Don't worry about it. You're more on time than those who are not here already. Who are not here yet, I should say. You're more on time. Scary Nona's going with oops, B. Who was deemed responsible for the homicide of Gbby Petito? That's a hard one. This individual who is on the list, who was deemed responsible for the murder of Gbby Petito, wrote out a full confession in his personal journal notebook, and well, let's just say that he said it was a mercy killing, but he confessed to the entire thing. And that individual is none other than Brian Laundrie, B as in boy. He confessed to it in his own handwriting and was found in his journal that was next to his remains after he put the pistol in his mouth and pulled the trigger. And well, animals got to him first before people found him. But Brian Laundrie is responsible for the murder of Gbby Petito by his own admission. Question number 6. What state did Gbby Petito and Brian Laundrie reside in prior to their cross-country trip? Was it A, Florida, B, Mississippi, C, North Carolina, or D, South Carolina? Question number 6 of 20. What state did Gbby Petito and Brian Laundrie reside in prior to their cross-country trip? Question number 6 of 20. Gbby Petito. All right. The answer to question number 6 is A as in apple. In the state of Florida, They resided in the state of Florida prior to their cross-country trip. Did you know each year only 1 out of 5 victims of physical injuries seek professional medical treatment caused by that? We're looking at the statistics for those who are in a domestic violence situation. Only 1 in 5 will actually seek out professional medical treatment. 81% of those who are involved in physical violence, domestic violence, never call law enforcement. 64% of those never tell their best friends about the abuse. And 1,300 to 1,700 women are murdered each and every year by their domestic partner. These statistics are all for men and for women, together. And when it's women who are murdered by the domestic partner, that includes those who are in same-sex relationships. But again, 1 in 5 will only report, seek out medical attention by a professional. 81% will never call law enforcement. 64% never tell their best friends. It's sad. But between 13 and 1,700 women are murdered every year by their domestic partner. Question number 7. According to the FBI, where was the last confirmed location of Gbby Petito prior to her death? We're looking for where was she last seen alive? Was it A, pick-a-pop gas station in Forest, Wyoming? B, Mary Piglets in Jackson, Wyoming? C, Running Waters Cafe in Sky Mountain? Or D, Itsy Bitsy Spider Motel in Forest, Wyoming? Where was the last confirmed sighting of Gbby Petito according to the FBI? Question number 7 of 20. Some people, to answer your question, Callie, Lisa, have really gone down the rabbit hole on studying, this case and others. People follow along with the story. Some people are actively have probably another window open and they're Googling it. It's not cheating. Use any means you have available to you to come up with the answer. If you feel that asking your significant other who's on the recliner in the living room, shout out to ask the lady at the counter at the Love's truck stop cashier, or doesn't matter. However you want to come up with the answers, come up with the answer, or just use deductive reasoning if that is, or just guess. Doesn't matter. It's not cheating. We're only playing for fun and for entertainment purposes only. All right, the answer to this question 7, is B as in boy. The Mary Piglet in Jackson, Wyoming was the last place that she was seen officially alive, according to the FBI. Excuse me. Question number 8. What month of the year were the remains of Gbby Petito discovered? Was it A, October, B, July, C, April, or D, September? What month of the year was Gbby Petito's remains discovered? Question 8 of 20. Pippadot says this case was so sad she couldn't stop watching. This, I would like to also point out, ladies and gentlemen, while we have your attention here, the same week that Gbby Petito disappeared, 11 other women in high-profile situations disappeared. 5 of those women across America were indigenous women, and they disappeared, and only 2 of them were ever found of the 11 total. 2 were found alive. But these were high-profile cases where they all had the same experience or were on social media just like Gbby Petito. But no one followed them because, unfortunately, they're not white. Again, 5 of them were indigenous women, and the others were Latino and African American. But they disappeared. And they had social media accounts and followers and subscribers and people who followed their content, but they're not white. And I'm not saying that to, as a, to point out that, it's racist, but it is, because nothing will get more national news attention than a pretty white, female that disappears. That makes the evening news. That makes the social media rounds, and everybody will do videos on a pretty white girl who disappears. And it's the same thing when, in reverse. When you look at African Americans, Latino women, and those who indigenous, individuals who disappear, they may get a blip on the evening news, and then that's it. And that's sad. It's the world we live in, and it's been that way since the 1960s. Needs to change. All right. When was Gbby Petito's remains discovered? The correct answer is D as in dog, in September. Her remains were found in the tent in the Teton National Forest where they had been camping. Question 9 of 20. What U.S. national park did Gabby and Brian spend the vast majority of their time in? Was it A, Sauk River National Preserve, B, Grand Teton, C, Moab Glacier Park, or D, Grand Canyon? Oh, somebody gave away a bunch of gift memberships to the channel. Oh, thank you, Kitty Q. It was really nice of you to do that. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much. Now, everybody, if you got a free channel membership from Kitty Q, you can click on the actual gift of membership, and you can give her a heart. It was very generous of her to do that. Thank you very much. Question number 9 of 20. What U.S. national park did Gabby and Brian Laundrie spend the vast majority of their time in? Oh, did somebody gift more? Oh, Gemma, thank you, sweetheart. That was very nice of you to do that. Thank you. Tina D, life coach, and Killing Time. Good evening to both of you. And Captain of My Soul, and Brandon N, and Crystal with a K. Welcome to the channel membership. Thank you very much, Gemma. Really happy 33. Good evening, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Welcome to everyone who is following along right now with the trivia. All right, the correct answer to question number 9 is B as in boy. They spent the vast majority of their time in the Grand Teton National Forest. Of the national parks that they were in the Grand Tetons the most. And that is where she was eventually murdered. Question number 10. Who allegedly aided Brian Laundrie after he murdered Gabby to avoid capture and being brought up on charges? Was it A, Brian's best friend Mark Stamford, B, Nancy Grace, C, Brian's parents, or D, Bullhorn Betty? Who allegedly aided Brian Laundrie after he murdered Gabby to avoid capture and being brought up on charges? Question 10 of 20. Yeah. Well, really happy. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight, and I hope you make it back, for other Sundays for trivia. This is the 344th episode of True Crime Trivia on this channel. So now, as a channel member, you can go back and binge watch 300 episodes more than 300. They're not all true crime trivia. Of the 343 previous episodes, about 110 of them are music and movie related and crimes that took place in the movie and music industry. But that's about 100 of them. The other 240-ish ones are all on true crime trivia about serial killers and crimes. But anyways, question number 10. The correct answer is C as in cat. Brian's Laundrie's parents allegedly aided him in getting away so he would not be, captured or brought up on charges. A lot of people, even the Petitos, have sued the Laundrie family, and I think they're still going through with it all, the legal fight even to this day after all this time. But the Laundrie, the family helped Brian get away. All right. If you're new here, please let me let you know that we now take a normal break. This break is a total of 7 minutes in length. For the next 3 to 4 minutes, I'm going to shine a spotlight. You don't have to stick around with it. You can go use the facilities, make yourself a sandwich, do whatever you need to do. You do you for the next 7 minutes. But for the next 3 to 4 minutes, I'm going to shine a spotlight on missing persons from around the United States. Every week, I shine a light on at least 2 stories of individuals who are missing that you may be able to help, or call in a tip, or, you may know something about. These people are missing and endangered from around the United States. I am excited to share that I am collaborating with several incredible organizations to help raise awareness about missing and endangered individuals. These include the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which tirelessly works to locate missing and prevent child exploitation, the Charlie Project, an invaluable database for documenting missing person cases across the United States, the FBI, which investigates criminal cases involving missing persons, NAMUS, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System, which also provides tools and resources to solve missing and unidentified persons cases, along with state and local law enforcement agencies in the states of DC. Starting later in 2025, that's the year we're in right now, I will be working also with the DOE Network to highlight a dozen missing cases. That won't be until around the month of June, but I will highlight cases, that they have within their network that other ones don't. Together, we aim to shine a light on these cases, support the families impacted, and keep their stories alive in hopes of bringing a solution. Our first missing person, endangered person tonight is Brian Emerald. He is age 57. last seen is not for certain. No one is certain when he vanished exactly. That there were he had two sets of very unique friendships. He had people that he had common interest in, and that was in crafts. And then he had another set of friends who didn't mingle with these other people, but they were in a completely separate, like group. Like they were into eating out and doing, like diner experiences and stuff like that. Two, but one group said they didn't hadn't seen him by this date, and the other group is like, we haven't seen him by this date, and they're vastly different. So there is no one that really knows when he vanished. He is missing from San Mateo, California. He is 5'11". His weight fluctuates between 230 and 245 pounds. His eyes are blue in color. He has no known scars. The photo you see here of Brian is from his Department of driver's license, but he did not have a driver's license at the time that he went missing. He had a state issued ID card. Because of certain medical conditions that he had, he was not able to drive, and nor did he own a car. So he didn't just get in his car and drive away. Brian Admiral case is very complex, and as I was stating, first, little is known about the man factually. Second, no one can agree when he vanished, but he did. He was last year seen, 12/15/2012. That's the group of people who said that he was very close to them in their crafting groups. Or he may have vanished on 3/19/2012, 10 years almost apart from each other. And one group says, no, he disappeared on this day. The other group says, no, we saw him back, a couple months ago, and that was in 2022 when he was supposedly reported to be in Colorado and had done a review of two restaurants, establishments that were kind of like what they call pop-up restaurants, but no one saw him there. It was just a review that was posted underneath his name on a web forum. If you know anything about Brian or what happened to him, you can contact the following number that is in red there, 530-538-7671. You can also reach out to the California State Attorney's Office, and they will take a tip from you as well if you know anything about Brian. And the following things are suspicious in nature around his disappearance. When they went to his residency, a home that he owned outright, so he didn't have to pay rent, his wallet was found on the dining room table. Nothing else looked out of place, like he had packed a bag and left. Everything was neatly put away where it's supposed to have been. The front door was unlocked, which is very unusual according to his friends, for Brian to do, because he was always very aware that there were some very seedy individuals in his area, and they would have taken everything that he had. But Brian just was there one day and gone the next, regardless of whatever the real date is that he disappeared. And again, I have to reiterate that the review in Colorado may not have been him. It could have been somebody who hacked his account or just wanted to make it look like he was in Colorado doing pop-up reviews of these restaurants. That may not have been him. All right. That is our first missing persons case. Our second one is of Shonda Janelle Peoples, age 33, last seen 9/8/2011 in Genevieve, Alabama. She is 6 foot tall. Her weight fluctuates between normally 115 to 125 pounds. She has brown eyes and no known scars or tattoos. Shanna Peoples has a learning disability and speaks with a stutter. She is shy in nature and rarely speaks up. If her friends and family say if you saw her in passing and you said hello to her, she may wave to you, but she would not normally even say hello. However, she may have been conned into leaving with someone under false pretenses. Please keep an eye out in the following states for her: Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee. On 1/19 of 2024, someone using her identification filed for federal benefits for her on 1/19 of 2024. She very well may be alive, and it maybe she's connected with a group of people who have convinced her that she's better off where she is today and than where she was before. But Shanna, or however you want to say her name, we'll go back. You can see the pictures again. Has been officially, went missing 13 years before her identification was used to try to acquire federal benefits. 13 years. And they do believe that she is alive somewhere, and again, in either Alabama, Florida, or in the state of Tennessee. If you know anything about where she may be, you can call 334-684-2777, and you can remain anonymous by giving them a tip on where she is or how she is doing. Since Shanna has disappeared, her mother has sadly passed away, and they have no way of getting that information out to her. But her mother has since passed, and she was very close her entire life to her mother. Miss Peoples also does not drive. Normally, she walked everywhere or she rode her bicycle. If she is out there and someone does not have complete control of her, you might also look for the following things that would be out of place regardless of the weather outside. Say it's snowing or whatever. She is known to always like to wear knit stocking caps and flip flops. Now, her disability level is not to the extreme, but she is entitled to Social Security disability payments. And that is what someone filed for on 1/19 of 2024. And they kind of put a stop to it, and the government is trying to get that individual or whoever it is, since it's attached to a missing persons case, to have to come into an actual Social Security office before they will process the application. At that time, if she is alive and well and she wants to leave and doesn't want to contact her family, she has the right to, as an American citizen and someone who is of free will. She can be wherever she wants. She is an adult, but they will then take down the actual missing persons notice that we're talking about today. Today's headline story doesn't have to mean forgotten tomorrow. Please help bring home Orrin and Orson West and others today. If you're not familiar with the West story, these two boys, that's 3 pictures of each of them there, were murdered by their adoptive parents. And both of them have been convicted of the murders, but have refused to tell authorities where they hid the bodies of these 2 boys. We need closure. Their family needs closure. Their friends need closure. and they will never get that complete closure until their remains are brought home. But today's story in the headlines of, true crime, doesn't mean that they have to be forgotten tomorrow. Orrin and Orson West were age 4 and 3 at the time they were killed by their adoptive parents, Trezell and Jacqueline West, who have been convicted of their deaths, but again, as I stated, have refused to cooperate and tell authorities where their remains are. You still have a couple of minutes left of the break, 3 minutes and 20 seconds to be exact. So if you want to, please enjoy the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds of your break. Pippadot, you want to see the picture of which one? Did the payments start for the no? The Social Security disability payments they've never started. They're requiring the individual who filed the paperwork. They sent out a letter. I would guess how the Social Security Administration probably does this, as they sent out a letter that says you need to come into the Social Security office. So no payments will be made and they won't complete the file work, because immediately after it was filed, it was flagged in the system that this is for a person that has been listed as missing. You're not fast enough to go get yourself a tea? The missing girl. Okay. Oh, there you go. Miss Peoples. Missing from Geneva, Alabama. They believe that she is either in the Alabama, Tennessee area, and I think Florida as well. Yeah, Florida as well. Alabama, Tennessee, or Florida is the areas that they want people to pay attention to. Oop, not time to get back to this yet. You still got over a minute left. Oh, I'm sorry, Gemma. Sorry you're feeling low again. She looks familiar. I've run across cases like this, that Reichardt, where individuals I've profiled in the missing and endangered, and particularly one individual I did a couple of months ago who is missing out of the state of Oregon. I swear, I mean, when I came across that case and I saw his picture, I was like, man, I've seen that dude before. I was that positive that I've seen that person before, but and then I started going back in my mind, and the dates and times that I was in that area, and it couldn't have been him. I was like, it was off by like a couple of years from when he was in that area. I was there like 2.5 years before that, but I mean, he looks so familiar though. It happens though. almost back. Almost. And now. All right, without any further delay, let's get back to our normal programming. Question number 11. Where did Brian Laundrie return to after he allegedly murdered Gbby Petito in Wyoming? Was it A, North Point, Florida, B, Jacksonville, Florida, C, Virginia Beach, Virginia, or D, Disneyland or Orlando, Florida? Oh, thank you, Lieutenant RN. I appreciate that. It was really nice of you to do that. Question number 11 of 20. Where did Brian Laundrie return to after he allegedly murdered Gbby Petito in Wyoming? She looks like the missing persons, Mrs. Peoples. Looks like the cashier at a Love's truck stop. It could be. You never know. But that was a couple of years ago, though. Huh. But we'll find out, and they'll get an actual answer to that if whoever filed for the Social Security disability payments for her, really does come into the Social Security office if they want the money. D, along with Richard Ramirez, both of them in Disneyland, Orlando, Florida. And it's super nice of all of you, all three of you, for donating gift memberships to, to everyone. That was really nice. I really do appreciate that. And I don't think that my words can express truly just how much, grateful I am for you doing that. That was really nice of you. All right. Question number 11. The correct answer is A as in Apple, North Point, Florida, is where he returned to after he allegedly murdered Gbby Petito in Wyoming. Question 12 of 20. What was the first story Brian Laundrie allegedly told his parents why Gabby wasn't with him upon his return to their home after the murder? Was it A, they had a fight, B, she was at a friend's house, C, she went on the trip without him, or D, he didn't know where she was? What was the first version of the story he allegedly told his mother and father why Gabby wasn't with him? Question 12 of 20. I gotta get myself back in my little window. There I am. I would appreciate everyone just giving me a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Leave a comment, because it really does help just a little from each person to help the algorithm push this out to more people so they can enjoy it as well. What was the first story that Brian Laundrie told his parents? Why Gabby wasn't with him? I don't know how the gift memberships actually pick people, Gianna Marie. I think it's completely random on how it gives them out to people, because there are people who get them who are just watching and they don't comment and they don't actually take a part in the content. I hope they do in the future, but then there are other people, I for some reason, every time I'm on the After Prison show, that's another YouTube channel, every time I'm in the comment section there, I seem to get another month of free membership. I've been going on probably like 8 or 9 of them now that I've gotten, and it's just totally random. And then other times I'm in places and I never get them. I don't know. Do you? I've never remember clicking on anything that says I opt into getting them. But maybe I did at some point and I just forgot. All right. The correct answer to question 12. What was the first version of the story they told his parents why Gabby wasn't with them? Is C as in cat. He told his mother, Roberta, that she went on the trip without him and that he wanted to go home, and that's why he was there. He told his mother that she went on the trip without him. That story would change if we believe what Roberta had to say. Again, how believable are the Laundrie parents? I'm guessing that from what I've read about the court proceedings in the wrongful death suit, they haven't exactly been 100% forthright with anyone, reporters, the police, anyone who has talked to them at to this point. Are they trying to protect Brian back then and now? Are they trying to just hold off, from losing everything? I don't know. They probably have their reasons for why they did it, but they haven't been exactly forthright with the information that they have to this point. Question number 13. After leaving his parents' home, Brian packed a backpack of items. Not everything was recovered later. Which items from below were recovered with Brian? Was it A, diary, a gun, a knife, rope, and a radio? Or was it B, diary, a Snickers candy bar, rope, and a gun? C, a gun, a knife, a radio, and a diary? Or D, a gun, a diary, knife, and Ziploc bags? What items were recovered with Brian Laundrie's remains when they found him? Good evening, who knows? Welcome to tonight's trivia. What items were recovered with Brian Laundrie when they found his remains? Question number 13 of 20. Question number 13 of 20. Jersey Shore Complete Collection on DVD. Good evening, Lemon Pie. Oh, you're such a hoot. All right, question number 13. The correct answer is D as in dog. Gun, diary, knife, and Ziploc bags were found near Brian Laundrie's remains. Now, animals had gotten to Brian Laundrie and had scattered his remains in a pretty wide area. I am not aware if they ever did find all of Brian Laundrie's remains, but those were the items that were found in the backpack or laying on the ground next to his torso, mainly the gun and the diary. Well, the, it's kind of hard to call it a diary. So Brian Laundrie, in case you're not aware, used to have a notebook that he would write in every single day. And I'm sure that I have something about this coming up later on, but I want to explain it now. Every single day in this notebook, he would write down how his, like a diary, he would write down his innermost personal thoughts. He wrote down ideas for videos that the two of them could make together and in locations that they could do. He talked about how he could and Gabby could improve their social standing and footprint on social media platforms. And then he played word games, where he tried to like spell things out and mix anagrams back and forth. But that was what he put in this notebook, and it was stuff like that. But he also put his so it was like a diary, a journey, a log of his life. It was a little bit of everything, but he did it every single day, and he took that damn thing everywhere with him. Did you know 2.5 to 3 million children are in households where physical violence has happened or is happening weekly? 44% of all of those children who grow up in those households where domestic violence is happened or is happening will grow up to abuse their significant other in the future, or will try. 31% males, 13% females makes up that 44%. Of course, it doesn't have to happen. Before it ever happens, there are things that they can do to stop the cycle of abuse and violence. They can get therapy to deal with the fact of what they are seeing is not right and what they've experienced is not right. And that could lower the 44%. But those who don't ever get therapy beforehand, when they become an adult, will seek out and try and or do commit a domestic violence situation upon a significant other, either being in a dating situation or after marriage, but in some form later on. 44%. Again, I have to iterate. It can be stopped. They could learn. Going through therapy, that it's not right and this behavior is not appropriate for anyone, male or female. Question number 14 of 20. What vehicle were Gbby Petito and Brian Laundrie traveling in during their trip? Was it A, a 2019 white Chevy Transit van, B, a 1999 Dodge white cargo van, C, a 2012 Nissan white passenger van, or D, a 2012 Ford Transit van? What vehicle were Gabby and Brian traveling in across the country? Question number 14 of 20. A yellow submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine. And now I got that in my head. Thanks, Lemon Pie. I got the Beatles yellow submarine in my head. And yes, To those who said that our children deserve better, they definitely do. Children learn by the actions of their parents. I don't believe any child, well, I used to, I should say, is born evil. I have definitely met some children that have the sweetest, kindest parents in the world, and they're raising a little hellion. One kid, I'm convinced is gonna be a serial killer someday. That kid has never experienced a day of trauma in his life. He's just out of control. But he's like 15, 16 now. He has been through every type of therapy, and you can imagine, and nothing has worked so far. But they do. They see something, they hear something, they repeat it, and they the actions and everything else. I'm going back to my first answer I put in, which is D. All right, question number 14. The correct answer is D, as in dog, a 2012 Ford Transit van. The van life is what they were trying to live, the van life. They had sold off most of their possessions, and what little possessions they had left, they put in storage or stored at their parents' homes, and were planning to just travel the United States doing TikTok and YouTube videos and Facebook lives, about their experiences. And that was what the entire journey was about, seeing and experiencing, the best life they could now, because they didn't foresee that they are ever going to be able to afford, a home or whatever, because, they wouldn't have the money to do it later on in life. So enjoy life now while they could, living the van life. All right. Question number 15. What evidence linked Brian Laundrie to the murder of Gbby Petito in Forest, Wyoming? Was it A, a phone call confession, B, DNA collected at the murder scene, C, confession in his notebook diary, or D, his public relations manager's statements? What evidence linked Brian Laundrie to the murder of Gbby Petito in Forest, Wyoming? Question number 15 of 20. Yeah, he didn't do a whole heck of a lot except for complain, did he? Meep. Good evening, Meep. Welcome to tonight's trivia, Meep. Question number 15 of 20. The correct answer to question number 15 is C, as in cat. The confession in his notebook diary. He confessed to the entire thing. Question number 16. What was the key clue that helped authorities locate Gbby Petito's remains? Was it A, TikTok video she had posted, B, a YouTube video she posted, C, photo Brian had posted, or D, photos and video witnessed posted? What was the key clue to help authorities locate Gbby Petito's remains? This is some of the best tea I have ever made in my life. It's passion fruit. I made it in this big old jug. That's why it's not on my desk here. And I'm actually pouring it in this bottle. It has like a light pinkness to it, but it's passion fruit. It has 0 sugar in it. Oh gosh, Pippa Dot. I don't remember the name of the brand. I'm sorry. It's in the house, and I'm not anywhere near that. I made 2.5 gallons of it this morning, and I've been drinking this stuff all day long. I've only got about that much left in this one. I'm a big reuse, reduce, recycle. So like the plastic container, this used to be Pure Leaf tea, but I mean not anymore. And I know it wasn't Pure Leaf is the name of the company that made it. I got it off of Amazon because doesn't Amazon supply everything to our lives now? But I got it on Amazon. It was like $8 for a big old thing of it, and then this is like regular tea. You have to make it hot, and then I took it and I cooled it down. So I made it really strong, and then I diluted it with cold water so I could put it in the plastic jug. And this jug used to be a Sunny D jug because my son loves Sunny D. You're tea addicted? You gotta ask my wife. My wife and my daughter, they got an entire cabinet in my kitchen. It's nothing but tea. All right, question number 16. The correct answer is B. A YouTube video that she had posted actually gave up the location of where they were camping because they took a photo of the actual camping area, and that photo actually showed where they were in the Grand Teton National Forest. But before then, all they knew, the authorities and the FBI itself, all they knew that they were in the Moab forest somewhere. And that is a huge area to start searching. But because of one YouTube video that she posted, it showed just enough of the background of a rock formation and a hill in the background that they were able to triangulate that photo and that item from around that area and said, okay, it's got it. That we know what that peak is, and it's about approximately this far from that, with them in the video, and they figured out approximately. They had it within 150 yards. That's pretty remarkable by watching a little video and looking at the rock formations and things in the background. 150 yards, a little more than that'd be what, a football field and a half. Distance, and circumference. That's how much of an area they went to and searched, and they closed in on it and found it. All right, question number 17. Oh, actually, did you know is next. Brian Laundrie wrote in his journal notebook diary every day ideas about the videos they could do. Yeah, I forgot about his crappy poetry and ideas on how to grow their footprint on social media platforms, along with bizarre short stories. He wrote every day. It was kind of like an exercise to him to every day write down in his little journal. I think it was a sibling, or maybe it was his mom, who gave him that leather-bound notebook. It was a gift. I remember that. It could have been Gabby. I don't remember. that exact thing. It could have been Gabby that gave him the notebook, but every single day he took that thing everywhere with him. And every night he went to bed, it was always the last thing he did. He put it next to him, on a table or whatever. And first thing in the morning, he always wrote it again, I guess. Question number 17, and yes, Brian did take some photos. Meep. Question number 17 of 20. What social media platform was asked by the FBI to stop people from posting videos and clips displaying the tip line number? Was it A, Instagram, B, Facebook, C, YouTube, or D, TikTok? Question number 17 of 20. What social media platform was asked by the FBI to stop people from posting videos and clips displaying the tip line number? Why, you might ask, when they're trying to solve a case like this? Because they were inundated by hundreds of thousands of people who gave tips. Like, my psychic said that this is where it is. I looked at the tea leaves in the water. I'm not making fun of it. If you believe in that stuff, go right ahead and believe in it. But they were inundated by people with tips that were like that was just a wild goose chase and wasn't helpful. So they said, please, for the love of God, stop people from posting these damn tip line numbers. But what social media platform was asked by the FBI to stop people from posting videos and clips displaying the tip line number? Question number 17 of 20. Kitty Q, sounds like all the above. I don't know. No clue, says Sprinkle Donut, and it's guessing B. Well, if you guessed B, you would be correct. Facebook. They asked Facebook to please stop people from posting clips and videos and stuff of the tip line number. Facebook replied back that there was no way that they could possibly stop people from taking snapshots, pictures of it, sharing it in groups, or having a conversation where they posted the latest information about the Gbby Petito being missing. They could not control it. It was out of their hands at that point. That there was way too much for their system to look for one particular thing and then block it or tell people not to do it. So and that was at that time. Can they do that now? I think they had the ability to do it then. They just didn't want to. Because as we've seen with the politics in America, they can definitely post whatever the hell they want, whenever they want on Facebook, and that, well, we didn't know. Or, they throw the, this fact checker underneath anything, anybody says. Hey, it's raining outside. Here's a fact check for you. I'm having an apple for lunch. Here's a fact check for you. But yeah, I think they had the ability to. I think they didn't want to. Question number 18. What was the name of the FBI operation into the investigation into Gbby Petito's murder? What was it called? Was it A, Operation Ivy, B, Operation Huckleberry, C, Operation Dino, or D, Operation Chutes and Ladders? What was the name of the operation the FBI gave to an investigation into Gbby Petito's murder? until I put this trivia night together, I had absolutely no idea that this was the name that they picked for this operation. I had no idea. I never heard it until I fact checked it again and I found 3 additional sources for it. I wouldn't believe it. If somebody would told me, they're investigating the murder and disappearance of a young, YouTube and TikToker. You know what they named the operation? And they named it blank. I never would have believed them. Never. I was like, you're full of it. And Lemon Pie says, Operation I'll Be Your Huckleberry. Wasn't that Wyatt Earp that said that? Val Kilmer in the movie? Did he play Wyatt Earp? I'll be your Huckleberry. They had Ivy tattooed on them. Meep says, I don't know. I didn't know they had one. See? Question number 18 of 20. The correct answer is B as in boy. I'm not joking. Operation Huckleberry is what the FBI named the investigation into the disappearance and murder of Gbby Petito. It was labeled as Operation Huckleberry. If someone would have told me that the FBI named the investigation into the murder of Gbby Petito as Operation Huckleberry, I wouldn't have believed them until I found originally 2 sources, but 3 total, including a writer for the Associated Press, who I actually kind of know, more like a friend of a friend. She's a writer for the Associated Press. She used to be with KVU News out of Yakima, Washington. But I reached out to her and I was like, "Is that true? Do you remember this?" And she's like, "Yes." She goes, "Every single investigation that the FBI takes on, especially when it has to do with crimes across state borders, which becomes a federal offense, they nickname every single operation, and they have, as far as she could tell, going back." And I was like, "Really? But why Operation Huckleberry?" She said, "I don't know. I don't know why that they actually, named it Operation Huckleberry, but they did." Now, I wouldn't have believed it. I really wouldn't have, because Brian looked like a huckleberry. He could have. He does a little bit. Question. Harmless little plug for everybody out there. Again, self-promotion of me. Just to remind you that on my merch store, I do have coffee cups available. They're a 12-ounce cup for $15.99 plus shipping and handling. The shipping and handling is based upon your location and the weight of the actual mug being shipped to you. Again, that mug is priced in the lowest 10%. I don't want to mention any names, but his logo is of a person, but it's a thumbprint. You can probably determine who that is from that description. His coffee mugs are $24.99 to $27.99. I'm not comparing myself and my content to him, and it's just an example of how much most people are charging for these mugs, and I'm charging $15.99. All right, question number 19. How many days did Brian Laundrie hold up at his mother and father's home before he packed up and walked off into the nature preserve? Was it 5 days? B, 12 days? C, 9 days. D, 144,000 days. How many days did Brian Laundrie hold up at his mother and father's home and before he packed up his backpack and stuff and walked off into the nature preserve? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to say hello, Joe. Good evening, Joe, and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a terrific weekend. I didn't mean to miss you. Sorry about that. Was he spoiled? Is that why he was such a jerk? Um, why was Brian Laundrie such a jerk? Was he spoiled? I mean, he didn't ever have to really work for anything in his life. It was all pretty much given to him, or he lived off of other people. And in the situation in the relationship with Gabby, he didn't work. Joe Tallchief. Brian was a jerk because he could be. Very self-centered. Absolutely, Pippadot. But how many days did he hide out? But he did, because we all remember that the media circus across the street from the Laundrie's home, and even the neighbors got in on it by selling bottles of water to the media and to people who were coming by to stare at their home, demanding that they told them what the hell was going on. But that media circus. But and we all know Bullhorn Betty was there. Well, she didn't. I don't think she showed up until later on, but she definitely did. Show up at the Laundrie's home. But how many days did he hang out at the house before taking off to the nature preserve? He was there for 12 days. B as in boy, 12 days. Will, can you make a travel cup with a lid? Yes, I can. I don't actually make them myself, cement shoes, but I can offer them for sale in the merch store. Yes. Once I have someone who, she's a family friend of ours. She is currently redoing the logo for my 411 Now, and she's also redoing the Taco Podcast logo, redoing them. But once she is done with those, then we're going to put them the designs on more merchandise. Right now, I only have T-shirts and the 2 different coffee cups that are available. But what she should be done with that work. That most of her money, you have to understand, and what she does this for a living. She's a family friend of ours, but she's doing this as like, hey, this is my normal rate. She makes all of her, it does all of her designs on Fiverr, is where she like 90% of her business comes from. But she's a graphic designer by trade. But once she's done with that, I will definitely, and just to remind myself, I'm going to write a note right now. So bear with me for a second, ladies and gentlemen, so I write this down so I don't forget it. And don't forget, for all those people out there who just became channel members today, if you're a channel member, not at the $1.99 level, but if you do someday decide you want to upgrade to the mid-level or higher, you do get a discount on merchandise. You get a discount code. All right, travel mugs with lid. Duly noted. Cement shoes. I wrote it down so I won't forget it. Maya. I still wear my 4-in-1 shirt I ordered when you first started. Oh, thank you. Is it the Lady Liberty, the white shirt? I think those were one of the first ones that I had. But thank you very much for being a fan all that time. I need a hoodie. I live in northern Minnesota. Joe Tall Chief. Where in northern Minnesota do you live, Joe Tall Chief? I know the state like the back of my hand. Question number 20 of 20. What was the reason the murder of Gbby Petito case was officially closed? Was it A, Brian turned himself in? B, Barry Morphew confessed to it all? C, Brian committed suicide? Or D, Brian's mother, Roberta, confessed? Ah, Bemidji. My grandfather used to have a farm just outside of Bemidji. My grandmother used to be the one-room post office for St. Cloud, Minnesota. That was back in the 60s and 70s. St. Cloud is definitely, growing a lot larger than that. My sister lives in Stacy, Minnesota. I have the rest of my family and kinfolk all live across the border in either Madison area or they're down towards the Twin Cities in the Prescott, Wisconsin area. Growing up as a teenager, I lived after we left the farm after my father died. I lived in the Twin Cities area. I lived in first we moved to St. Paul, and we lived across the train tracks near the Capitol. And a funny story on that is after my grandmother died, they found a tunnel that went from the Capitol underneath the train tracks up and into my grandmother's basement. It was a bootlegger's tunnel that they had dug, and nobody knew it was there. But they didn't find that until they were excavating the basement and they found dynamite that had crystallized, and they had to evacuate a large area. And by doing more and more excavation in the basement, that's when they stumbled across the tunnel. Her home is now on the historical landmark, though, if you ever want to go visit it. But I lived and went from there. We moved to the suburbs of Minneapolis to St. Louis Park, and then we lived in Edina, upstate Minnesota. I lived in, Little Falls. I lived in Hackensack, where we have a summer home on Woman Lake. And I have a family that lives up there near the North Dakota border, where I-90, was it 90, 94 where it changes over. But back to your original question, hoodie. The problem with the hoodies are how expensive they are to ship. I can get them and offer them for like $25, but the company that does the merchandise apparel, they charge a rate based on where the individual is. They don't have flat rate shipping. Wish they did, but they don't. Your cousin was a bootlegger, says Gianna Marie. Wow, a bonus room, right? But maybe down the road, don't count it out. I may switch to another company. I wanted to get on with Bunker Branding, and I almost signed a contract with Bunker Branding to do merchandise, but that's kind of up in the air because the guy who Matt, who owns Bunker Branding, he's also a YouTuber, and but he's quitting. everything. He's leaving. He's walking away from doing any YouTube after 9 years. It's got millions and millions of subscribers and stuff like that. And channels, all of his channels are highly successful. Like he has Off the Ranch, Demolition Ranch, Veterinarian, but he's just going to, pay more attention to his kids and his veterinarian practice. But anyways, question number 20, the correct answer is C as in cat. Brian Laundrie committed suicide and the FBI closed the case once he was determined to have died. Just here, help is just a call away or a text away. If you or someone you know is in a physically, abusive relationship, you can call 1-800-799-SAFE or text the word START to 88788. Again, help is out there if you are in a domestic violence situation, either male or female or whatever you want to, refer to yourself as. Help is out there. Okay, this is completely optional. Some people like to keep track of how many they got right and give themselves a letter grade for it. Again, we are only here for fun and entertainment purposes. This is completely optional. You give yourself a letter grade. A, you get 17 to 20 right. B, 13 to 16 right. C, 8 to 12. You can just consider yourself in E, rock star status. Duluth, Minnesota. Pigeon Mac. Good evening, Pigeon Mac. I hope you had a terrific week, Pigeon Mac. I hope you're doing well. All right, the next question is a sneak peek at the poll. Every Monday on my YouTube channel, in the community section, I post a poll every Monday. This is a sneak peek, 24 hours advance notice, if you want to consider it that way. You don't have to answer it now. You can answer it then on in the community tab, but and see how many other people may agree with your answer or leave a comment on it tomorrow. But this week's poll question is: should parents of teenagers who commit violent crimes be prosecuted for the criminal acts of their children commit? Yes, no, maybe, it depends on the case, or no opinion on the question. You like the Muppets though. Again, question of the week. Again, this will be on the community tab tomorrow. Should parents of teenagers who commit violent crimes be prosecuted and sent to prison if they don't stop their child from committing criminal acts? And again, it's completely optional. You don't have to answer it now. You don't have to answer it tomorrow. But again, I post these questions every week. And eventually, once I get enough of the answers, I'm going to post them. I'm going to put them all in a video. And they're all going to make sense once you see them all in order. Because they all have to do with, topics that are in the news today. This one in particular, school shooters. They've gone after school shooters, the parents of those shooters who didn't stop their child from doing the criminal acts that they did. And they have sentenced their parents to prison. But violent acts. say what you get one case in the judicial system passed, and it sets a precedent. So now it's a free game. Tomorrow afternoon, prosecutor in Duluth, Minnesota. We'll use that as an example because that just came up. It's on top of my mind. Let's just say the DA in Duluth, Minnesota, decides tomorrow that a 15-year-old kid, who committed an act of malicious mischief by targeting another local high school's mascot, committed to property damage. So they throw the book at that 15-year-old to make an example out of him, so this never happens again in the future, so they say. And they charge that 15-year-old with, say, 5 or 6 different felony charges, which will get that teenager maybe 1 to 4 years, somewhere in that range, behind bars, where their life will pretty much be guaranteed to be over and ruined. All right, because of one stupid act of outward like this. And then once they've locked that kid up and ruined their life, the prosecutor says, you know what? The parents should be responsible for this too. Let's prosecute them for being terrible parents. So they go after the parents, and then they prosecute them, and they get a conviction on a couple of charges. And the mom goes away for 2 years, and dad goes away for 2 years. Should that be allowed? Now that's exactly what we're looking at with the school shooters. We allowed the prosecutor to set the precedence of, hey, you can prosecute the parents because they didn't stop their kid, even if they had no idea that the kid had the ability or had the any ways of committing these the atrocities. So they go after the parents. Let's send the kid away to prison for life. No chance ever getting out or getting any kind of rehabilitation at all. Let's send them away forever. Now let's send mom and dad away for 10 to 15 years as well. That's the society we live in. I don't know if you've ever raised kids before. I have. I have a 25-year-old daughter. If my daughter did something stupid and committed a criminal act, how am I the person who absolutely has to go to prison because of what she did? Now, yeah, there are awful parents out there. There are people who raise their children, barely raise them. They feed them and house them, and that's it. And they're just, wild little rebels out there running the streets at all hours of the night. Those parents, very neglectful. They're awful parents, and we all know of some. But should they be sent to jail for what their kids do? And where do you draw the line? Felonies today, misdemeanors tomorrow. How about we make the parents responsible, for the rest of their actions? Maybe we can make the parents, financially responsible for everything that their children do until they're 30. Why not? Well, I know you raised them right and you did everything you could for them, and you gave them the best of everything, the best education. You made sure that they had food and clothes, and you did everything else for them. But Tommy over here, he just got on the wheel of a car at the age of 18 and, drunk off his ass and hit another person and killed them. How about we throw you in prison? Because your kid is 18 years old. They're still underneath your household. Well, that's where we are. Carly Gregg's parents thought she needed help, and Dad stepped wasn't charged for it. Just a tough call. No, I didn't think that way. I mean, do things like that. But it's now on the books that there's been one prosecution of it, there is no bright line drawn in the sand that says, you can't use this for anything else. Let's use it to, go after parents for other things. And I did the damn best I could. And everybody who's ever raised children, your parents too, did the best that they could. And I would have to assume that, you're somewhat adjusted if you're here tonight. But children don't come with a manual that tells you what to do, especially when it's your first child. It's like, geez. All right, now I got to figure out how to take care of this little thing, and raise it, and make sure it's well adjusted. Gang members, yeah, well, they can go after them next. Gang members. It's not just it started off with school shootings, but there have already been countless things that have come up on the internet where the prosecutors are trying to go after the parents for a litany of other things. There's a case, I think it was in Oklahoma, where a little girl was selling Girl Scout cookies, and the money got stolen from the little girl selling Girl Scout cookies. So they're prosecuting the parents because they didn't give enough security or put enough security in place for to prevent people from stealing from the little girls, and stealing the cookie money. Why are you going to prosecute the parents for a crime that they didn't have anything to do with, and neither the little girl? They already know the little girl was selling cookies out in front of I think an IGA store or something like that, and someone ran up and stole the box that had the money in it from the cookies, that she had been selling. Well, fine, the parents are responsible. It sucks. You got to pay for that. Replace that money for all those cookies. But they're not looking at them just from the civil side of it. They want to prosecute the parents for not, offering enough security to stop someone from committing a crime, because it's already been passed. It's legal precedence. Oh, that's the way the world works, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to break the bad news to you if you're hearing it here for the first time. On the same subject matter that I'm talking about, Scott Reich over on Crime Talk, did a very good video about it. And give him a shout out. He definitely did it and covered it very well on the legal side of it, explaining it all. You would have flew through school if you would have had Google. They don't want to change gun laws, so making parents responsible is the best thing, I guess. Yeah. And there's more than enough laws on the books right now when it comes to guns, and people misusing guns. But when you get somebody in office who, takes a back seat to really prosecuting, gun offenses, and enhancements, for crimes that were committed with guns. Yeah. When they were like, oh, we'll drop that charge and was going to go for this one instead. And then they let them out in 5 years instead of them being in for 10. Because of the enhancement, they dropped the enhancement of the gun charge. Terrible. But there's more than enough if they would actually use the laws that are on the books now. You don't need to pass new ones. Just use the ones that are on the books now. Encyclopedias. I have an entire Encyclopedia Britannica set in the house, and then I have the almanacs that they used to put out, like, the year in review for each year. Like, this is 1970, this is 1971, 75, whatever year. They used to put out an almanac for each one. I did not buy the actual year almanacs. My father-in-law bought one for his, my wife, but he was off by a year. But so then he bought another one. And then at a yard sale one day, we were helping a friend of who had a yard sale pack up everything after the yard sale was done, and stuff was going to, Goodwill and other places, to be donated. Well, they had an entire, set of Encyclopedia Britannicas, and my daughter's like, I want them, so I have them now. They're in my house. They've been there for close to, I don't know, 16 years. You're trying to get, heck, I'm trying to get my 13-year-old into 22 LR competition shooting. That's cool. I can't show it online on here because that's a fast way to get your ass banned on YouTube. Is ask Scott Sharp on how well it goes with just showing a knife. I mean, not Sharp, but Reich. Ask him how well that worked out. All he showed was a Bowie knife that we both got. We both got copies. He has his still from when he was in the Marine Corps. I don't have mine anymore, but you get them when you're going into second phase of basic training. You get the knife. But Scott apparently held on to his. I didn't. But all he did was show it on a stream talking about Brian Laundrie. Not Brian Laundrie, but the Idaho 4 murders. Kohlberger. But he was talking about Kohlberger murder and the DNA on the button on it, and he got shut down for that, for showing the knife. But back to what you were saying, Kitty Q, about the 22 LR. I have a Smith and Wesson that is that you can change out the chamber for the 22 LR or the 22 short. I inherited that from a family friend. It's really nice, silver plated, really nice. Just it's an actual real gun, and it really works. Really cool, an antique, but it's a 22. No pew pews on YouTube. Nope. And then there are channels like Ian, who owns and runs a YouTube channel called Forgotten Weapons, and all he does is talk about the historical nature of the development of different guns. He does some shooting videos and stuff like that, takes them out and tries them himself. And he's written quite a few books about guns, but he's been on YouTube for years. And they told him, a long time ago, there's nobody that wants to advertise on gun content on YouTube. I see, gun advertisements back then and now. I still see them. But they're like, nobody wants to advertise on gun content. I'm like, okay. The games we play with YouTube. She's really good, and my dad made her a competition rifle. Shoot a dime at 75 yards, maybe 100. That is really good if she can shoot a dime at that distance. Get her into competition, 22 LR Kitty Q, and then get her into cross country skiing. There's an Olympic sport for that. You like to watch axe throwing? Me and my wife went and did that. Hatchets and axes. We have a local place here that that does it. You have a little stall, and they have a big log with a bullseye painted on it, and then they give you a lesson to show you how to throw it, and everybody, only one person near the throwing area at a time, and everybody else has to stand back behind, this table that's a good distance back away from, because they do bounce off that stuff, especially if the back end of it hits it. It takes some practice to get into it and do it. But they have axe throwing and hatchet throwing. I think they used to have Chinese stars that you could do too, but I don't think they do that anymore. We've only been there once officially to do that, But they also have a diner that's next to it. You know, same people own it. We've been there a couple of times. You'd love to do that, Pippadot? It's actually not that hard. The it's like my wife was worried about when we went. You know, how was she going to be able to pick up an axe, a whole, you know, and throw it? They have all different kinds of weights of axes, and they're not like axes that you would use for, you know, chopping down a tree. You know, they're really close to it, but they have all different kinds of weights and lengths of handles, just like the hatchets. They have different weights. So even if you don't have the proper upper body strength to, you know, to throw something like that, they do have different weights. She enjoyed it. Did you see the guy that tastes World War II Army rations, meat? Um, well, there's one guy that I used to follow his content. He used to be an actor, um, and he eats World War II rations, and he reviews rations itself. I've drawn a blank on his name. I can picture him now in my head. But he's in a room in all his pictures and stuff like that from when he was younger, and he was in, you know, doing Hollywood movies and stunts and stuff like that. He's done a little bit of everything, but he does. Steve, I think his name's Steve or Steven. No, that's the guy I'm thinking of. Though, that he eats from all over the world, all kinds of war rations. Barbecue chicken and shrimp salad. Is that what you're having for dinner? That sounds good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia night. I want to thank everyone again who is still here, as we've lost, over half of everybody who was here. But I want to thank everybody again, you know, and even those who may watch this afterwards. I want to thank everyone for stopping in and checking out my channel and my content. Give this a thumbs up if you're not a subscriber yet. I would, you know, hope that if you do like the content, you will, you know, subscribe. That way you'll be notified, you know, when the next content comes out. In the meantime, everyone, I think that, you know, this is a good point to jump off for tonight and say thank you very much again. We will be back here next Sunday again to do trivia at the same time. 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, you know, Eastern time. Oh my God, I'm just totally messed up here. 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock on the Eastern time zone. But have a great week, ladies and gentlemen. Bye. I hope you will be, Joe, Tall Chief. In the meantime, you stay safe out there.